Hello, my name is Katie. Welcome back to my channel. I'm here today to talk about some trilogies that I think are totally worth your time. First up, something that I have been talking about a lot this year, and I don't intend to shut up about it because it's probably currently in my top 2, maybe top 3 trilogies of all time. I'm not sure. Octavia E. Butler is like putting the pressure on. Okay. The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I feel like most people know what this book is about. 1, because I talk about it all the time. And 2, because it's just like a popular booktube series, trilogy. Are those interchangeable? I don't know. But this is about Rin. She is a war orphan who has grown up in less than wonderful circumstances. She is about to be sold into a marriage, but instead she takes this exam. And basically, it's like an exam that everybody in the whole country can take if they want to. And based on how you score on this exam, you get placed into different schools. And the end result is that you end up working for the government in whatever capacity you excelled at in these schools. So Rin studies extremely hard. She's just really smart and has a great memory, which helps give her a bit of an advantage. And she winds up in the elite school for like warriors, and nobody thought she should have been able to do that. There's a lot of like distrust. People are very unsure. They think she cheated. Then when she actually gets there, there's a lot of she doesn't belong, because usually it's only the wealthy and the elite, it's their children who make it, because from childhood they've been taught all the necessary skills and information that are needed to pass this exam. So it's really just learning about Rin and her struggles at this school and her really coming into her own and making friends, and it's really good and touching in that way. But then it's also fantasy, but based on the Sino-Japanese War. I always get this confused. I get them backwards, and I never remember which came first. And I've looked it up several times, and it's just not sticking. But the point is, it's based on real historical events, and it's pretty rough in certain aspects, but I really enjoy that combination of history with fantasy, and this book just does it so well. The next series I want to talk to you about is the Xenogenesis Trilogy by Octavia E. Butler. Wow. I did not know what I was getting into with this. I should mention that the name has been changed to Lilith's Brood, which I despise, but nobody asked me. Anyway, we are introduced to Lilith at the beginning of book 1, which is called Dawn, and she is in this room and she doesn't know what's going on. She just periodically wakes up and she is fed like strange food. Sometimes she gets a bathroom, sometimes she doesn't. It's just like a lot of weirdness is going on. She doesn't know where she's at and she doesn't know what's happening. She finds out that humans have essentially destroyed themselves and the Earth, and what was left, like the remnants of humanity, were rescued by an alien race. And she is now on board their ship. And it's just really interesting sci-fi where she has to learn how to, one, not like flinch when she sees people like sentient, intelligent beings that don't look like her. She has to like figure out how to accept them and their differences, and then when she finds out what they want in exchange for saving them, she has a really hard time with that too. Not all these books were created equal. I definitely enjoyed books 1 and 2 far more than I enjoyed book 3, but the trilogy as a whole I think is exceptionally well done. Next, I want to talk about the Daevabad trilogy, the first book being The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. This is really cool because it's fantasy, but it's not set in like Europe, which I appreciate. I think you'll probably notice that's not my favorite thing. This is set more like Middle Eastern. I'm not sure exactly where it's at. I do think they mentioned Egypt at one point. I think they're in Cairo to begin with. Anyway, We have our main character whose name is Nari, and she inadvertently awakens a djinn. And she winds up being taken to Daevabad. And it's there that she learns a lot about the history of herself. She was an orphan, pretty much lived her entire life on the streets. And she learns that her heritage is not exactly what she thought it was. The inspiration behind this is beautiful. I really enjoy the characters. I would love to go visit Daevabad, honestly. It sounds phenomenal. And yeah, I just really enjoyed this trilogy as a whole. Next, we have another sci-fi, and that is the Themis Files by Sylvain Neuval. This is told in like kind of an interview format. Let me see if I can... Okay, so you'll have like your file number, and then basically it's people just talking. They're telling the story. And it starts with this girl named Rose. She is riding her bike one day, and she falls through the earth and lands in like a giant metal hand. 17 years later, Rose is a physicist, and she is still trying to figure out what exactly this hand is, what it's made of, where it came from, what the deal is. Overall, like, I just really enjoyed the series. It was fairly unique when I read it, like at least to me. It wasn't like many other things that I had read. I really liked the format it was told in, which I was unsure about, because sometimes when things are told in like an interview format, it can be kind of boring. But that was not the case here. I had such a good time with this, and then each book after this, I was slightly less interested in, but I don't think I gave any of them less than 4 stars. So overall, I think this is definitely one worth reading. This one's a little bit older now, but that's okay. It was still enjoyable. Okay, the final trilogy I want to talk about is a little bit of a cheat, because book 3 isn't out yet. But I have loved books 1 and 2 so very much. I actually finished rereading book 1 for the 2nd time this year. And then book 2 was also just phenomenal, so I thought it was okay to add it to the list, and that is the Lost Queen trilogy by Signe Pike. This is like that perfect historical fiction with a bit of fantasy thrown in. Although the fantasy elements are developed much more in book 2, it still takes a backseat to the historical aspects. So in this book, we are following our titular Lost Queen. Her name is Langorith. She is twin sister to Lailoken, who is the historical figure that the Merlin character from Arthurian legend was based off of. So we start this, and they're both about 10 years old. Their mother has just died. And then we just follow Langorith through her life in this one, up till she gets married and she has a few children, well, 4 children. And then in book 2, we have a lot more in the way of perspectives. So we're not just following Langorith in book 2, we also have a perspective from Lailoken, and then we also have a perspective from one of Langorith's daughters. I can't imagine book 3 will disappoint me. I can't imagine. So I wanted to add this one anyway, even if maybe it is cheating a little bit. Don't hate me. So those are 5 trilogies that I think are totally worth your time. Let me know in the comment section some trilogies that you think are worth people's time, that you thought were great. Maybe I'll check those out when I get some time. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you soon. Bye.